Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Today we've got Leolo in the chair. We're doing a Mohawk Fade. And I've also got 2 fade techniques for you guys. Both super effective and both tried and tested in the shop. So make sure you're listening and let's get started. Alrighty guys, so we get started. I grab a hot towel just to wipe out the wax and product that's in Leolo's hair. It's just come from work. This is a great alternative to washing it in a basin, especially if you guys charge for a wash and someone's like, I don't really want to, but you really need to get the wax out of their hair. And then we're just going to start by saturating his hair. Making sure you're saturating and wetting the hair evenly. It just makes for a more even cut. Now, starting on the ridge, knuckles against the head, firmly against the head. And what that's going to do is create a visual barrier so we don't take the clippers up too high. See my knuckles square against his head, and I'm just pulling anything over, and whatever falls within my fingers, I'm going to cut off. Now, as always, we determine our length with our client. We start by pulling up the front section, obviously assuming it's not a hairstyle that's worn down. So we start by pulling up, cutting that front section the whole way through, either side and the middle. So no matter how we take our section to cut the rest, it's all going to be even because the initial guideline was even. Next is our profile guide. Guys, you might see these in videos and go, oh, you know, only the fancy barbers do it, but it's actually not a good technique. And I have to disagree. It's really effective and it's really fast. And it's fast because it's accurate. You just need to do it once and then boom, you set yourself up for a good even haircut. And there's no need to complicate it, guys. It's super simple. All we're doing is pulling up that section, using the very first initial cut that we did as a reference on the fringe, and then we're just going to follow it along the rest of the way. Now, the next step is completely up to you. You can do what I'm doing now, how I've split the hair in half, and then you can work on either side. We've got our guide through the middle, or you can simply just pull the sections back and you can see where it needs to be cut, as we've got the shorter parts as our guide, and then we just cut the rest. So up to you. What I'm doing now, I personally think is super important for the fringe to sit well. We're going to take, it seems like it's part of the fringe, but it's actually not. We're going to be taking a section kind of from the recession corner, similar to a triangle section if you guys are familiar with that. And then all that excess that sticks out, we're going to take off. I noticed when it's styled, that excess hair, if you don't cut it off, it bunches up and just looks like unwanted bulk. Now keep in mind, guys, we're not going to go crazy with it to where we create like a missing chunk. Alrighty guys, this part is super important. I'm going to pull the fringe up diagonally, cut that edge off, then all the way out to the side, and then take that edge off. Simple. Now for the back. If you're unsure of how to attack the back, try this. Using 2 fingers, I pull down maintaining tension and comb either side, and boom, our section. Otherwise, you can just simply pull out. Now keep in mind, when we're pulling out our sections, maintain good tension. And every few sections, I personally like to cross check just to make sure we're staying even and consistent. I'm going to start blending the top of Leolo's hair to the sides. So I'm going to split the hair in half and then pull everything out to the ridge, and anything that hangs over is coming off. Of course, we're going to do it the more conventional way. It's just whatever's easy for you. I will say that first method, I really recommend for super curly hair. And it helps you avoid cutting too much off when blending. Keeping in mind that when we cut curly hair, sometimes it looks a lot shorter than what we cut when it dries. Now another quick cross check, just to make sure we're even. Now a super slept on technique. In my opinion, it's an essential one. You need to be doing this. So easy. I call it the pull test. Just simply pull out and pull up firmly, guys. It shows you how even the lengths are. We're going to do some slide cutting to add texture. You're going to be like carving through these scissors, slightly closing but not fully closing all the way. For the back to add texture, we're going to use our scissors to pull up a section, tap down on the hair for it to fall into the comb, and just chop through. Now this does take a bit of weight out, so just be wary of that so you don't overdo it. Before we attack the fade, let's use our texturizing scissors to debulk the ridge. It helps with evening out any densities and helping our fade transition to the top. If we did this after doing the fade, we run the risk of ruining the fade because taking too much off the ridge can change how the gradients looks. Leolo wants to go with a V, so that's what we're doing. When lining someone's neck up, whether it's a V, whether it's rounded, whether it's even just a normal square line at the back, have their head down slightly and then their head down a lot, because you'll get a better gauge of how it's actually looking, especially in a stretched position. I really recommend this with kids because they've got really skinny necks. Anyone with a skinny neck, but especially kids. And you think you've done the line properly, and then you tell them to move their head all the way down, and you go, oh, yep, wonky here, I need to fix that up. Alrighty, guys, listen up. This is a super important tip for getting volume in the fringe. I'm going to pull up with my brush. Whilst holding tension, pull down, kind of folding the hair on itself, and then pull back up. This is really going to elevate the hair. I'm using like medium to high heat. Leolo's hair might not be the best example of how high and how much volume you can really get because his hair is not that long. But if you had a pompadour, as I've got in other videos you should check out, or a quiff, you really get a lot of volume with this technique. So try it out. Now I'm just prepping our canvas before we get started with the fade. I'm using about a 3 here. This is essential, guys. Comb to the head always for our fades, okay? It's going to remind us where our barrier is. I'm then going to put 2 fingers under where the head starts to curve, and it's going to show me where my guideline is. You see me showing you the one finger and the two finger. 2 fingers for a mid fade, 1 finger for a high fade. That's a good rule of thumb. Of course, we're going to take into consideration what the client wants, but you need to take the initiative and let them know where the guidelines need to be set. If they wanted a high fade and you've left yourself, let's say, that finger I showed you, panel to fade, which is appropriate, but they say, let's go higher, you need to be able to talk them out and go, we can do it, but it's not going to come out nice. So it's really important to understand the head shape, hence why we use the comb. Always be sure to stand in front of your client to make sure you've got level, even guidelines on either side. Same as for sideburns as well. It's something so simple, especially for a fade where it needs to be even or else it will look messed up. But yeah, for sideburns, make sure that they're even, because that's something that's so simple but embarrassing if you get wrong. When foil shaving, we're not going to go all the way up to our guideline. We want to leave maybe like about a half a picky, because we want to come back with our trimmers and blend it out with the trimmers so it's a better transition to like the 0 and then 0.5. It's too harsh if you could use the foil shaver all the way up to the guideline. Now we're jumping into the fade. On this side I'll be doing one technique. You see me using my lever all the way open, so 0.5, and that's how I start all my fades. So as you notice, guys, for this method, I've already foil shaved everything and we're fading up. This whole method is fading up. It's way more beginner friendly because we set a guideline and then we take it out. We set a guideline and then we take it out. So it's really easy to manage. I'm then closing my lever all the way to 0, bringing that bottom line to the middle, and then eventually opening my lever about halfway and just fading the rest out. Next, one guard with the lever open, and same panel, probably about a pinky. Next, we're going to come back in with the 0.5 guard with our lever 3/4 open, and then just gradually closing until we fade it out. Then 2 guard with the lever fully open. Coming back through with a 1.5 guard, 3/4 open, and then gradually closing until we're happy. Now you're going to come back and refine with your other guards, with your 1 guard open and then your 0.5 guard open, and it's up to you, up to your discretion. And this is where your practice and experience will shine through, because obviously the more you do, the better eye you get, and you'll understand it a bit better, which can be frustrating to hear, especially if you're a beginner, but unfortunately that's just how it goes. You need to put the hours in to kind of understand it better. Now for method 2, the other technique. You see we left the bulk under our guideline and we begin our 0.5 panel. Same process. We eventually close to the 0 and then open up halfway to 0.25 and then just blend it out. It's really important to do the 0.5 panel first, in my opinion, for any technique you do, because that's the panel that makes it look blurry. That transitions from the skin. If you do that properly, the rest will be a lot easier to do. For this method, we're fading down. This is why it's a bit more intermediate. You need to have an idea of where the spacing is and where the guards go. So that obviously takes some experience. When fading down, if you get a bit stuck or a bit confused of where your guards need to be fading into, just keep in mind that the fingers we used before, the 2 fingers against the head for our mid fade, that top finger is going to be with a 1.5 guard and your 1 guard fade into, and that bottom finger is where your 0.5 guard and your 0.5 panel is going to fit into. So try and remember that if you're feeling a bit confused. Fading down is easily the fastest method. Now, it's good to know both methods because, for example, if you're fading in a tighter spot, a more cramped spot, like a low fade or a low to mid taper, fading up could be better because you've got more control of where the fade's going. Fading down, although it's fast, you can accidentally take too much hair off, and you can be a bit careless with it, and you got to be more careful. So it's good to know both because they're both good in different scenarios. And if you notice, guys, after finishing the fade, I came through with the straight razor again just to push down that weight even more, creating more separation so that when we take off that bulk and come through the foils, it's just a nice seamless transition. Now we're just cleaning up Leolo's mustache and goatee. He doesn't want much off the mustache, so we're just going to come down with the grain and then just balding everything else out. Finishing touches, use your product of choice, and then let's get to the final result. Boom, there you have it. Did all the right things, didn't skip any steps, did it properly, and look how nice that looks, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. Please let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share, please share, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.